Welcome back to my channel, my little honey, little baby, little sweetie, little angels. Thank you so much for joining me again. Because of the overwhelmingly positive and amazing response that I got from the last video, I've decided to do a part 2, because in the first video I didn't cover the entire video that DissociaDID reacted to Trisha Paytas's video because I just didn't want it to be too long. So here is the second half of the reaction from DissociaDID. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. You guys have been so supportive, so awesome, and I would love to keep creating content to help people to understand mental illness and also to take away a lot of the stigma around mental illness. All right, guys, let's get into it.
Don't ever call anybody with a mental illness crazy. That's when I watch other
that part breaks my heart.
I'm like, they're crazy.
Well, that didn't take long.
I honestly didn't know she was going to say that right then. Oh my god, no. No. I watched the India one, and there's a girl, DissociaDID or something, I think she's British, and like, I watched it and I was like, oh, like, she seems crazy, but I know that's like,
ouch. She's being so respectful in this moment. She's just kind of like biting her tongue, literally.
I knew that she would be crazy at some point in this video. I didn't know when. So in the Anthony Padilla video, who is wonderful, by the way, we flew out to LA on 1 day's notice. It was a 22-hour journey.
Wow.
It was very stressful. It was very frightening for us to do that.
I bet.
Anthony was incredible. His whole team was incredible.
Good.
Reassuring, understanding, calming, very attentive. And putting yourself out there like that, trusting people with personal insights into you, who you are, your life, your past, your alters, everything that we are, is very difficult to do. It's very vulnerable.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to hear that Anthony Padilla's
that we're going to get people who think that we're crazy.
Staff and himself are professional and did a good job.
People who think that we're doing it for attention or for money or for whatever you want to say. We get death threats regularly. We get hate every day, all day, every day. Very personal hate.
That literally blows my mind because, well, for one, I don't know why anyone would fake having DID. It's such a stigmatizing disorder, and not only that, but it scares people. And not saying it should, but it scares people away. And I'm sure even professional doctors and psychologists and therapists, some don't feel qualified or don't feel comfortable working with patients with DID. And so I don't know why anyone would make that up. And secondly, the fact that they get death threats and hate, it's just unbelievable. I know that from the people that watched my last video, you guys were incredibly, incredibly supportive of the DissociaDID system. And I hope that you guys continue to support them. They are giving a lot of really good information. The thought that they're getting death threats and just threats in general is mind-boggling to me because they seem so sweet and so kind and so informative. But I will not be putting up with any of that on this channel, so not just towards me. I mean, I have thick skin, I don't really care, but we're not going to be mean to each other on this channel, so just FYI.
That's hard enough without a mental illness to deal with. Especially such a complex one like DID that revolves around trauma. So it's hard. We do this because we know somebody has to take the hit. No change has ever come about in the world, in history, without sacrifice. And I'm not saying that we're martyrs or that we're sacrificing anything. We're not. We're incredibly lucky. We're so lucky. And, you know, without the people who watch us and listen to us and take us seriously, we would be nothing. Doesn't matter how much we use our voice. If nobody shared it.
She's incredibly humble. I agree. I don't think she's making her system out to be martyrs by any means, but I think that someone has to be vulnerable enough to open up about their situation and talk about their truth in order for other people to be able to comprehend it and understand it. Again, I don't know what the trauma history is here for their particular system. I don't know if she's ever commented on that or if they've ever spoken about that on their channel, but I would be very interested to know what the trauma history was here. And again, guys, the fact that this system, this person and her alters have gone through so much trauma, and then people are going to be piling more trauma onto them, like, it makes me kind of embarrassed to be a human being.
But we were prepared for this kind of stuff. We hear it every day. But it still hurts to put so much of yourself out there, to be so completely vulnerable, and still have people look at you and be like, she's nuts, she's crazy. You know, she's just a crazy person, rather than seeing me as, you know, an individual, a person with hopes and dreams, a person who's suffered, who's trying to do something good.
Vulnerability is extremely difficult for most people. I can't tell you how many of my clients come in and one of their main issues that they struggle with is just being able to be vulnerable. And now I mean vulnerable just in their everyday lives with their people that they know that are in their inner circle. And DissociaDID is being vulnerable to millions of people on the internet. So that's a whole different level of vulnerability. So I applaud them for that. It makes me sad that their vulnerability has been met with hate and disparaging comments. That's just not okay.
So yeah, that actually hurt more than I thought it was going to, even though I knew she, at some point in this video, she called me crazy. Please don't do that to people.
She's not crazy. As I mentioned before, crazy is a very derogatory term, and I'm not being overly sensitive, and I'm not the most PC person in the whole entire world. If you know me in real life, like, I'm very much me. You know, I spoke in my last video about having like a work version of yourself and a normal version of yourself with your friends and people that you know. I'm kind of just me all the time, and I think my people that know me and my clients could attest to that. I just kind of have one way of being. You know, I consider myself to be a little bit of a crazy person, and I don't mean mental illness. I just mean I'm kind of a free-spirited person. And so when I say crazy about myself, I don't necessarily mean that in a derogatory way, but if you are calling people crazy in a derogatory way, you may want to check yourself, because nobody's perfect, and I would suggest that you take a look in the mirror and do some self-awareness activities.
I am not always confident, that's T. I'm not always strong, that's T.
You can not always be strong and not always be confident and still be you. Like, sometimes I'm super confident, sometimes I'm not. I'm still Min.
She brings up a great point. Every alter does not have to have a specific personality trait that they embody or a certain set of skills that they encompass. That is another misconception. If you think of a DID system as separate people in one body, yes, they may have roles. There are roles usually in a system, and that is because of the severe trauma that the person has been through, and these roles serve a purpose in order for the person basically to survive the trauma. However, it is possible for the protector, if they have the protector role in a DID system, not to always feel brave, not to always feel confident. It's all a fluid array of human emotions, and so we're allowed to feel however we want. I would say generally I'm a very confident person. At this point in life, I'm very confident, but you know, I have my days where I'm like, moop, you know, like I look ugly, nothing fits me today, like I'm having a bad day, my hair looks like shit, blah blah blah, whatever. We all have our moments, you know. That doesn't make me not a confident person anymore because I have moments of, you know, self-doubt or weakness. Right, Bernie? Okay, let's keep watching.
Other authors may have more of those traits, so Kyle is generally a lot braver than I am. We're also both extremely stubborn, and sometimes when you are blendy or you are co-conscious, it's really difficult to tell where one alter starts and the other ends.
Sure.
Tyson is very much a sensitive emotionalness. I feel like,
Again, she's referring to alters as being her or holding her, whereas alters are, yes, technically a part of the whole, but also completely their own individuals.
I want to stop there for a second. So in Trisha's video, she refers to Tyson as her emotional side. So that would be like me naming my work persona and party persona, naming their work persona Samantha, their personal persona Janice. Janice, I love that name, Janice. That doesn't make it a separate alter. Just because you're putting names to different parts of yourself does not make you have DID.
Created to keep you safe, to protect you, but they're not necessarily there to serve you. They don't belong to you. They're their own people. So
They're
their
not
emotions
your
are their
alters.
emotions.
They're
just because, for
part of a
example,
system.
somebody is very sensitive or very strong, that does not mean that it is your strength. So Kyle is strong on his own. Kyle is sensitive on his own. I'm also strong and sensitive on my own. Kyle's strength does not mean that he's holding my strength for me, or that he's representing my strength by being strong. He is strong himself. That is his strength.
correct.
Tierney's catty, slutty.
That's
Lying
not
as
nice.
well.
Wow, that's really mean. Why would you say, like, nasty?
This is another part of the video which makes me, again, I'm not trying to debunk what Trisha said or diagnose Trisha with anything, but this is another thing that I feel like if she truly does want to communicate that she has DID, this is another kind of discrediting thing. If she truly had an alter named Tyranny, chances are she wouldn't be talking about her as being slutty, because they have their own inner world. This wouldn't be someone that just she knows of in theory. Typically, if this is a person who's slutty, I'm assuming that's because of some sort of action or something that she's done. That's why she's characterizing her as slutty. So this isn't just someone like in a far off land that she's calling slutty. This would be someone that she's like having to deal with on a normal basis and speak to and live with. So it's unusual for someone, whether it be the host or the other alters, to characterize their alters in that way. Now, to say that she is the more sexually promiscuous one or that she is the sexual alter, that would be different. But for her to just be like, she's slutty, like, to me that makes it seem like she's taking a part of herself that she would consider slutty and putting a name to it, putting it on another alter, which I think is just another side of her, not an alter.
Unfortunately, tyranny comes out quite often.
Again, unfortunately, tyranny comes up quite often. Every alter has a reason and a right to exist and to use the body. You have to work with that. If they have unhealthy coping mechanisms, like a lot of persecutors do, or misguided understandings of how to keep you and your system safe, saying that they're horrible people and that, you know, it's terrible when they front and that they shouldn't deserve to front and you wish they would just go away, is not going to help the situation. No. It's just going to make them hurt even worse.
Right.
And reaffirm that they can't be anything different than what they are, that they're hated, that they're inherently bad. The idea is complicated. It's not easy and it's difficult.
It is.
Trisha's obviously not very educated on this subject or has misunderstood things. It sounds like she's just watched Anthony Padilla's video and kind of clipped some things together, potentially. I'm not saying that that's the case. This is just what's coming through in the video to me. I could be misunderstanding, and if I am, I apologize. But it's hard
she tries to be so sensitive.
Sit here and watch somebody
sweet
call me crazy and spread information that's very incorrect and damaging about our community, which undoes a lot of the hard work that me and a lot of other content creators in the DID community have.
I want to speak to that just for a second. I just want to give a shout out to all of the DID systems that are on YouTube and that are trying to educate and inform people about the disorder and not sharing, you know, or supporting the progression of, you know, informing people with things that are untrue, outdated, or just hurtful in regards to the disorder. So kudos to you.
I don't know if you can tell that I'm a little bit like out of breath and fast, I guess, because it scares me. It scares me that people might watch this and think that everything that Trisha's saying is correct, and that it's okay to call people crazy, and that it's okay to think that DID is scary, like she said, and that, you know, having different parts to yourself may mean that you have DID, that MPD, multiple personality disorder, and DID are different things, and that you can have alters without having dissociation. It's not something that she's probably going to want to sit down and think about, oh, you know, what's going to be the knock-on impact of this on, you know, another community, a disadvantaged community. She's going to want to sit down and, you know, tell people what's going on and chill out with her fans. But obviously we come from a very different place, and there's going to be differences in, you know, how Trish wants to portray her experiences and how we do. And I don't want to be sitting on a high horse saying that everybody should be like this or everybody should be like that. But I think that it is worth taking into consideration if you are talking about something that will affect a marginalized group, what information you're putting out there.
So guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. Like I said, I've been overwhelmed by the response that I got from my other video, and I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and please go out and give someone a compliment today. It'll make you feel good, it'll make them feel good, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.